Admit it. The Strange Tale of Depsey the Rabbit. Chapter 8. Convergence. Detective Bones stepped into Depsey's dressing room, his hollow eye sockets taking in the scene with practiced investigative attention. Chuck stood near the bookshelf in obvious distress, his yellow surface trembling as he muttered fragments that sounded like testimony from a nightmare. Lucy hovered protectively beside him, her porcelain features reflecting the dim light in fractured patterns of worry and fear. The chemical smell hit Detective Bones immediately. Not unpleasant exactly, but wrong somehow. Artificial. Like medicine mixed with something organic that had been sitting in darkness for too long. His 40 years of police work had exposed him to every kind of crime scene, but this odor carried undertones that made his skeletal frame feel more fragile than usual. "I asked you a question," he said, his voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to getting answers. "What are you doing in this building at 4:30 in the morning?" "We were—" Lucy began, but Chuck's rambling cut through her attempted explanation. 200 years of systematic harvest," Chuck babbled, his eyes unfocused and seeing things that weren't visible to the others. "Same face in all the photographs. Dr. Dinglegreen never aging. Contracts signed across decades." Detective Bones felt his professional skepticism waver. Those weren't the words of someone conducting normal research or engaging in petty breaking and entering. Those were specific details that matched his own impossible discoveries about the conspiracy he'd been tracking. "How does he know about photograph inconsistencies?" Detective Bones asked slowly, studying Chuck's distressed state. "I haven't shared those details with anyone outside the investigation." The Lucy looked between Chuck and the detective with growing desperation. "Something's wrong with him. He touched something. A bottle we found hidden behind the books. And he started seeing things. Horrible things about Dr. Dinglegreen and missing performers and entities with tentacles." The soft sound of Pearl's voice emerged from Detective Bones's jacket pocket. "Detective, that young man is experiencing supernatural revelation. The details he's sharing match our evidence patterns exactly." Detective Bones pulled Pearl from his pocket, her elegant rotary form somehow reassuring in the strangeness of the moment. "This is Pearl," he explained to Lucy's surprised expression. "She's been helping me investigate the missing persons cases for years." "A telephone?" Lucy's voice carried confusion mixed with relief that someone in authority was taking the situation seriously rather than arresting them. "More than that," Pearl's voice carried through the room with gentle authority. "I've been processing information through official channels for 40 years. And I can tell you that what your friend is experiencing isn't mental breakdown. It's enhanced perception of truth that normal investigation can't reveal." Chuck's visions seemed to be intensifying, his testimony becoming more specific and more impossible. "Mr. Mystery recruiting across time periods, same red eyes in different decades, three-headed entity with green tentacles, reality warping around cosmic presence. Faces visible through dimensional rifts." "Faces?" Detective Bones leaned forward urgently. "What faces?" But before Chuck could respond coherently, Lucy grabbed Detective Bones's arm with porcelain fingers that trembled with urgency. "Detective, there's something else. We found this." She pulled the formal letter from her pocket, the expensive paper carrying the weight of official correspondence. Detective Bones read it quickly, his skeletal features growing more grim with each line. "Servants of the row job," Detective Bones read aloud, his voice carrying recognition. "Pearl, this matches the signature we found on documents spanning 200 years." "Identical handwriting," Pearl confirmed, her voice carrying the precision of someone who'd catalogued decades of evidence. "Detective, this letter represents an active murder assignment. Oculus is in immediate danger." Lucy's porcelain surface went completely white. "Murder assignment? You mean Depsey is supposed to... Either your friend is being coerced into participating in systematic elimination, Detective Bones said grimly, or he's an active agent in a conspiracy that's been operating for centuries. Chuck's supernatural testimony provided the terrible answer. Blood money protection. Ink suppresses guilt and consequences. 20 years of systematic murder. 43 elimination assignments. Mr. Muffins was the first, pushed into the rift for cosmic hierarchy. The fragments hit Detective Bones like physical blows, not coercion, not unwilling participation. Active, systematic murder spanning decades, protected by supernatural means and directed by entities that operated beyond normal criminal frameworks. Your friend is a serial killer, he said quietly, the words hanging in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre. And whatever substance he contacted is showing him the full scope of what he's done. Lucy shook her head desperately. No, Depsey wouldn't. He's our friend. There has to be another explanation. But Pearl's voice carried the weight of unavoidable truth. The evidence pattern is consistent, Miss Lucy. Multiple disappearances over decades, all connected to your friend's assignments. The supernatural protection explains how he avoided normal legal consequences for so long. Chuck's visions were reaching a crescendo of cosmic horror. Cosmic justice mythology. Victims worship their own elimination. Rift inhabitants believe they were chosen for significance. Systematic psychological manipulation. Entertainment industry as corruption delivery system. Detective Bones felt the pieces of his investigation clicking into place with horrible clarity. Not just medical malpractice, not just missing persons. A comprehensive system designed to eliminate specific individuals while making the eliminations appear voluntary or accidental, protected by supernatural means and psychological manipulation that turned victims into worshippers of their own destruction. How many people know about this? He asked, his professional training focusing on containment and evidence preservation despite the cosmic scope of what they were facing. Just us, Lucy said quietly. And now you. Chuck's been tracking patterns, but until tonight we didn't understand what they meant. The substance your friend contacted, Detective Bones said, studying Chuck's continued supernatural distress. Where is it now? Lucy pointed toward the bookshelf, where Chuck had found the hidden bottle. Behind the books. But Detective, touching it did this to him. I don't think normal people are supposed to see what it shows. Pearl's voice carried gentle warning. Detective, that substance likely provides protection from legal and psychological consequences of systematic murder. Contact with it by non-participants could be dangerous. But Detective Bones was already moving toward the bookshelf, his investigative instincts overriding caution. If Chuck's visions were accurate, they were dealing with a conspiracy that threatened not just individual victims, but the fundamental safety of their entire community. We need evidence that can't be buried by bureaucratic channels, he said, reaching for the hidden bottle. If this substance reveals truth about systematic murder, then we need to understand what we're really facing. Detective, no! Lucy grabbed his arm. Look what it's doing to Chuck. But it was too late. Detective Bones's skeletal fingers had already contacted the dark liquid, and immediately his professional worldview began expanding to accommodate impossible truths. Flash. Captain Drumstick signing documents that buried hundreds of missing persons reports over decades, his cheerful demeanor masking systematic corruption. Flash. Official departments across multiple jurisdictions coordinating to eliminate evidence of pattern disappearances, bureaucratic machinery designed to protect cosmic conspiracy. Flash. His own case files stamped with approvals that ensured investigations would never progress beyond preliminary reports. Flash. Uncle Mortimer's disappearance as part of systematic elimination of anyone who got too close to understanding the truth. Flash. Pearl herself. Decades of patient evidence collection. Understanding that normal channels were compromised, but continuing to gather information in hope that eventually someone would be able to act on it. The whole system, Detective Bones said, his voice carrying the hollow weight of someone whose professional faith had been shattered. Every official channel, every bureaucratic process, all designed to protect systematic murder. Pearl's voice carried through the room with gentle affirmation. Now you see what I've been documenting for decades, Detective. The corruption isn't individual, it's institutional, designed to eliminate anyone who threatens the operation. Chuck and Detective Bones stood together in supernatural understanding, their enhanced perception revealing layers of conspiracy that normal investigation could never penetrate. Lucy remained unaffected, but surrounded by evidence that her world was built on foundations of systematic elimination and cosmic horror. "What do we do now?" she asked quietly, her voice carrying the weight of someone who'd seen too much to return to innocence. Detective Bones studied the formal letter, his enhanced understanding now showing him the full significance of the hiking trail assignment. "Now we save Oculus," he said grimly, "and we figure out how to stop a conspiracy that's been operating for 200 years with supernatural protection and institutional support." Chuck's visions were beginning to stabilize, his testimony becoming more coherent. "The system depends on isolation, victims eliminated separately, no coordination between targets. But if we work together, we might be able to disrupt operations," Detective Bones finished, his professional training adapting to accommodate cosmic horror investigation techniques. "Pearl, what do you recommend for next steps?" Pearl's voice carried the wisdom of decades spent preparing for this moment. "Document everything. Share information with trustworthy allies. Protect each other from isolation tactics. And remember, the conspiracy's greatest weakness is that it depends on secrecy and separation. Unity threatens their entire operational model." The three of them, Lucy, Chuck, and Detective Bones, stood in Depsey's dressing room surrounded by evidence of systematic murder spanning decades. Two of them carried supernatural understanding of the conspiracy's scope. All of them carried the weight of knowledge that their friend was either victim or perpetrator in horrors that challenged the basic safety of their world. But for the first time in 200 years, the conspiracy faced investigators who understood its true nature and were committed to working together despite the personal costs. In the distance, the rift's strange lights continued their eternal swirling. And somewhere in the cartoon world's artificial dawn, Oculus continued his enhanced performances, unaware that his elimination had been scheduled for the hiking trails near the north side. The blood money conspiracy had survived for centuries by keeping its victims isolated and its operations secret. Now it faced three allies who understood the truth and were determined to save both their friend and their world from systematic cosmic horror. The real investigation was finally beginning.